What's going down, D-Gens? It's been a minute. Thank you for tuning back in. Thank you guys for reaching out to me, those of you who did. I appreciate it. Appreciate all the positive feedback and just looking out for me. Um, be real with you. It's like the third time I'm recording this because I keep getting people calling and interrupting in the middle of filming this thing. So this is probably going to be a little bit quicker than it would have been if I had got it right the first time. But let's get into it as quickly as we can before I get interrupted again. So for preseason, guys, well, number one, I'm sorry I didn't get to make a Hall of Fame video. I did go 2-0 for anybody who cares, so that was good. But as far as what I can do to help you guys, so let's take a look at a couple things. Number one, the chart in front of you here is going to show you the coaches as well as their win percentage, as well as what I have rated their quarterback room. The two most important things for preseason as far as what we're looking at: who's going to be the quarterback, because obviously it's not typically the starter, and how does the coach treat preseason? Does he care? Does he not care? Is he new? Is he old? Why do we care if they're new? So these new coaches, if you're looking at the top of the screen, you're seeing a lot of like divide by zero under their win percentage under column G. That is because they are brand new coaches. They have never coached before. Dan Quinn and Antonio Pierce have coached before. Antonio Pierce, he didn't have a preseason because he was interim last year, but the others above that have not. So those teams that have had a new coach are the Seahawks, the Falcons, the Titans, the Panthers, and the Patriots. So keep that in mind, because those five teams, typically we see that brand new coaches, and this is from last year and even prior to that, but I started tracking it last year, tend to try very hard for the first season. Now, if they are new to the team coach, that trend doesn't really apply. So, for instance, Sean Payton and Frank Reich, who were coaches for the first time with the Broncos and the Panthers last year, although they had been coaches prior, tended to not really try that hard. They had a combined record of 1-5 for the preseason last year, and that's because they already came in. Their name was already out there. They already knew who they were. They already knew they were good coaches. Not a lot really to, quote unquote, prove. The other guys, though, that were brand new coaches to the league, D'Amico Ryans, John Gannon, and Shane Steichen, each one of them went 2-1. So we see that trend over and over and over again. And a lot of times it is because they need to put something out there. So the GM doesn't know if he made a good hire or not. The owner doesn't know if he made a good hire or not. The players on the team don't know if this guy knows what the hell he's doing or not. So they need to go out there, get some wins, show that they know how to win, that they can put out a winning strategy, and kind of give them some recognition. So get a little bit of buy-in from the entire organization, right? So we see those guys tend to try very hard. Again, somebody like Dan Quinn, who's been a coach before, doesn't usually have that. He doesn't need to. The guy's already been to the Super Bowl. He's already proven his record when he was with the Cowboys. He proved he was a great defensive coach. So they don't tend to usually come in with that kind of hype. Now, that being said, Dan Quinn is involved in one of my week one plays, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a caveat to that because he is with a rookie quarterback. Now, they have not announced starters for pretty much any of these games, and I'm making this video now because once they announce the starters, the lines are going to go all crazy. I don't think Washington is going to play Daniels in week one. If he does, it may be one or two, sessions or whatever. But I don't think you're going to get a whole lot of plays from him. They definitely don't want to get him hurt, although they do want to get him some sort of, play time. I think you're going to see that ramped up more week two. But that being said, I would definitely look to fade them in week one because they are playing against the Jets. Washington, Dan Quinn specifically, has a 30% win record in the preseason. And when he was with the Falcons as a head coach, he won one preseason game in the last 3 years he was with the Falcons. Well, it really last 4 years, but in 2020, he did not have a preseason because it was COVID. So the 3 years he actually had preseason, he was 1, and I believe it was 12, so 1-11 or something like that. So he does not really care. Now, the first year he was ever a head coach, which was 2015 in Atlanta, he did go 3-1, and then he went 2-2, and then again he proceeded to only win one game in 3 years. So again, someone who's kind of trying to show us, hey, I don't really take preseason very serious. I'm really more concerned with the health of my guys. Maybe the joint practices are more efficient for them, whatever it may be. So I would not be surprised if we see him not throw out too many people. And even when he does, when he goes to his backup, it's Marcus Mariota. And Mariota's already shown he's not the best passer in the world, even though he's a veteran. And then he has Jeff Driscoll and Sam Hartman. Sam Hartman, we have no idea anything about him. And again, I gave them a 2 on the rating of 1 to 5 as far as quarterback rooms. Now, if you look at the Jets, Robert Saleh is the opposite. He has a 77.78 win percentage, so we know that he's going to try. We know he wants to win these games. We know he cares about the preseason. He wants to set that standard for his team, and their quarterback room gets a 3. Tyrod Taylor probably is going to get the start. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers isn't going to play any of the preseason due to that Achilles, but Tyrod Taylor should get the start. He may even play, the first half, if not at least the first quarter, and so we should at least get a good start from him. I don't blame you if you want to take the Jets just for the first half, but you may want to look at what's out there. Depending on where you go, you may be able to get a Jets +3 right now, or at least a Jets +2.5, or even just Jets money line. So my official play for the game is probably going to be just Jets first half money line. Now again, depending on what we get. Moving forward, as far as what Dan Quinn says with Jaden Daniels. If Jaden Daniels is not playing in that game, I'm going to make that the Jets full game money line. So that's play number 1. Second play here is the Ravens versus the Eagles. Ravens, again, very similar story here. John Harbaugh is a 75.86 win percentage. They only have a 2 as far as their quarterback room. Obviously, Lamar's great. He's not going to play. Josh Johnson is proven capable, at least, I would say on par with at least Marcus Mariota, right? After that, though, Devin Leary, Emory Jones, we don't really know anything about these guys as far as NFL talent. So I don't feel great about that, but what I do feel great about is that I know John Harbaugh is going to try. He's going to try and get his guys involved. He's going to make sure that they have a winning season started off correctly, especially when your aspirations are for the Super Bowl, right? So he wants to get some buy-in from the young guys and just kind of make sure everybody's good. And I don't expect him to need the starters necessarily, especially when you talk about playing against the Eagles, which are almost the exact opposite. The Eagles with Nick Sirianni have an 11% win record. Now, they do get a 3 as far as their quarterback room with Jalen Hurts and Kenny Pickett leading the way. Pickett, again, kind of in the same boat as like a Marcus Mariota. I don't think he's all that great. He's probably better than what we saw with the Steelers, but again, someone I don't know if you're going to see too much. Maybe the first quarter, maybe even not that much. Tanner McKee and Will Grier, again, we know Will Grier, at least what we've seen from him. Tanner McKee, who knows? But either way, what I'm more concerned with is this 11% win record. The Eagles know they don't want to start their guys. They know they don't want to get them hurt. He's come out recently and said that he does, he's thinking about it or contemplating it. His entire record as a coach shows us otherwise. So if you want to jump on that, I would jump on it now, because right now you can get the Ravens at +2, 2.5, depending on where you're at, or you just take the money line at a better number. So you may want to look into that sooner than later. But again, I would definitely try something with the Ravens. So that's the second pick. Now, the next pick here, this is going to be, again, one with kind of a caveat. If anything, I would do maybe a half unit on it at most, and it's going to be the Raiders and the Vikings. So the Raiders, again, Antonio Pierce has not had a preseason before, just due to the interim issue. I think he is just kind of a try-hard coach in general, and I could see him wanting to come out, make a statement, go 3-0 or 2-1 or whatever in the preseason and show that he knows what he's doing. It wasn't just a fluke to the end of the year last year. The only caveat I have to that is that Kevin O'Connell, while he has been a coach and he has never, ever in his entire career as a coach won a preseason game, he is now working with J.J. McCarthy and Nick Mullins, Sam Darnold as well. He's got a pretty solid quarterback room. I gave it a 3, but that's kind of iffy because we don't know how J.J. McCarthy is going to look. So as far as quarterback room, definitely much, much, much better for the Vikings. But coaching-wise, I think Antonio Pierce may be the only one who's actually trying to win this game. So, sorry, I just had to check something real quick. But either way, that's something to kind of keep in mind. I do like the Raiders in that game. I don't know if I'm going to take them plus the 5.5 or minus the 5.5 or whatever it may be, but it is something to look at. My last play here is actually going to be the Browns. So the Browns are playing the Packers. As far as the Packers are concerned, same kind of situation, not very good as far as trying in the preseason. Matt LaFleur has a 38% win record. Again, not really great as far as the quarterback room. Jordan Love's pretty much the only guy who's, worth the shit in that room. The Browns, on the other hand, again, not really a great winning record as far as Kevin Stefanski is concerned. He only got a 40% win record in the preseason, but he's the only team, or one of the only teams, I gave a perfect rating to as far as quarterbacks are concerned. No matter who this guy throws out there, he's going to have a starting caliber quarterback with Deshaun Watson, Jameis Winston, Tyler Huntley. Dorian Thompson-Robinson is obviously the weakest in the bunch, but we saw him last preseason, and he was tearing up guys. He was tearing up the Jets, actually, last year in the preseason. So, and he just kind of came out of nowhere. He actually kind of ruined a play I had last year with the Jets because he just could not be stopped. So, I would definitely look at that. Same thing. It's like a -5, -5.5. I had jumped on it earlier in the week at a -3. But right now, I don't know if you want to touch that at a -5, -5.5. Although last year, a lot of these games did go over. So I think we can expect some scoring. And with the Browns, I would not be surprised if they're throwing out a lot of different receiver, groups and things like that, because they are trying to kind of work through some of those things, even with like Jerry Jeudy, seeing where they're going to land in the pecking order. So give me the Browns. Give me the Browns first half for that game, and that should be at about -2.5 up to -3, depending on your book. And so those are the plays for the week, guys. So hopefully that was helpful. I'll put some notes in the comments below. Let me know if there's anything that you need, anything you're looking for, any stats, any data. And then as we get closer to the regular season, I'll give you some more information on that as far as players and what we got going on for week 1. And you know what? Last thing, let me just throw this. This will just be a bonus. I do like the Giants, and I've been just kind of tinkering with this all week. But the Giants this week, playing the Lions, I think the Giants are actually going to put something together for the preseason, at least, with Daniel Jones, Drew Lock, and Tommy DeVito going up against the Lions. Brian Daboll has a 50% win record, so nothing crazy, but a solid, at least, backup quarterback room. They are playing Dan Campbell, who has a 33% win record, and really behind Jared Goff, not a whole lot else. We have Herndon Hooker and Nate Sudfeld. I'll tell you what, let's take the Giants -3 for the game, and that'll be the 5th and final play. So that's it for the week, guys. Had to throw out that bonus. But y'all have a good week, good luck, and I'll speak with y'all soon.